Have you ever felt like the world is trying to tell you who you're supposed to be? Every day there are voices coming at you from every direction, telling you what's possible, what's realistic, what you should want, how you should act, who you should become. They come from social media, from people around you, from old beliefs that were never yours to begin with. And if you listen long enough, you start to believe them. You start to shrink. You start to question yourself. And maybe that's already happening. Maybe part of you knows there's something more, but you keep getting pulled back by everything the world expects you to be. It's not that you're weak, it's that the noise is relentless. The world rewards those who follow the script, those who fit in, those who don't make waves. But fitting in is not the same as living, and deep down you know that. You weren't born to just blend in. You weren't made to spend your life following someone else's rules, walking someone else's path. That feeling inside you, the one that says you're meant for more, isn't just a dream. It's a signal, a reminder, a truth that's been buried under the noise for far too long. You've probably been told to be realistic, to be careful, to lower your expectations. You've probably heard that now's not the time, that you're not ready, that success is for someone else. But here's the truth no one talks about. The world's voice is not the voice of your future. It's the voice of the past. It's the voice of fear, of limitation, of control. And if you keep listening to it, you'll live a life that was never meant for you. You'll chase approval instead of purpose, comfort instead of growth, familiarity instead of freedom. But what if you stopped? What if you tuned out the noise long enough to hear what your own voice is trying to say? Because that voice inside you, the quiet one, the persistent one, is the only one that truly knows who you are. It doesn't shout, it doesn't beg for attention, but it's always there. It speaks in your moments of stillness, in your longing for something greater, in that feeling you get when you imagine a life that sets your soul on fire. That voice is not wrong. It's just been drowned out. And now, more than ever, it's time to listen to it. If you keep watching, you'll begin to remember who you really are. You'll reconnect with the part of you that believes, that fights, that dreams without permission. You'll understand how to stop living on autopilot and start living on purpose. This is your wake-up call, not just to feel inspired, but to finally break free. Stay with this message. Let it remind you of your power. Let it pull you out of the noise. Because once you stop listening to the world, everything starts to change. Not someday, now. Most people will never know who they truly are because they've been trained to forget. From the moment we're born, we're taught how to survive, not how to live. We're told to follow the path, not to question it. To aim low so we don't fall far. To stay quiet so we don't stand out. And over time, we begin to accept that smallness is safety, that dreams are dangerous, that playing it safe is somehow the responsible thing to do. But deep inside, there's a battle happening between the version of you that conforms and the version of you that knows you were made for more. And you can feel that tension. Every time you say yes when you want to say no, every time you stay silent when something in you wants to speak, every time you ignore your potential just to avoid discomfort, it wears you down, it chips away at your energy. It leaves you wondering why you feel so disconnected, so restless, even when life looks fine from the outside. That feeling is not confusion. It's clarity trying to break through. It's your soul reminding you that this isn't all there is, that you were not born to follow the crowd. You were born to break patterns. But the truth is, most people won't. They'll stay in jobs that drain them, in relationships that shrink them, in beliefs that limit them, not because they're weak, but because the world has convinced them that comfort is success, that approval is worth more than authenticity, that fitting in is the same as being fulfilled. And the more they buy into it, the more numb they become. They stop questioning, they stop trying, they stop believing, and eventually they stop feeling alive. That is the slow death the world never warns you about. But not you. You're here for a reason. You're listening for a reason. Because something in you still knows the truth. You haven't fully forgotten. You haven't given up. You're not satisfied with surface-level living. And that dissatisfaction, that hunger, it's not a flaw, it's a gift. It's a sign that your soul is still awake, that your spirit still remembers what it came here to do. That voice inside you hasn't given up on you, even if you've been ignoring it. So what now? You stop apologizing for wanting more. You stop shrinking to fit into places you've outgrown. You stop pretending you're okay with mediocrity just to make other people comfortable. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to rise, to lead, to create, to defy every voice that told you to settle. This is the moment you stop waiting for permission. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you your purpose. You have to claim it, own it, live it. The world is loud, but your truth is louder. And if you keep listening to it, everything about your life will start to shift. Not by accident, but because you decided. You already know what needs to be done. The truth isn't hiding. It's been speaking to you all along, waiting for you to listen. But you've been trained to doubt it, conditioned to second-guess yourself. The world made you believe that your inner voice is irrational, unrealistic, too bold, too different. But what they call irrational is often your greatest wisdom. What they call unrealistic is your truest potential. That inner voice is not your weakness, it's your guide. It's not your enemy, it's your map. And the more you ignore it, the more lost you feel. Not because you're broken, but because you're disconnected from the part of you that knows exactly who you are. No one else can hear that voice the way you can. It wasn't given to them. It was given to you. And no amount of advice, opinion, or approval from the outside will ever replace the clarity that already lives inside you. That voice has survived every moment of self-doubt, every rejection, every time you were told you weren't enough. It's still here, still fighting for you, still calling you higher. And now it's time to stop pushing it away. Because the longer you silence it, the more your life becomes a reflection of what others want, not what you were made for. You don't need more answers from the world. You need more alignment with yourself. You don't need more validation. You need more conviction. Because the truth is, no one will fully understand your vision until you build it. No one will believe in your path until you walk it. So stop waiting for the world to catch up. Stop trying to convince people who were never meant to go with you. They don't need to believe. You do. That's where your power begins. Not when others say yes, but when you do, loudly, fully, without hesitation. When you honor your inner voice, everything changes. You stop living by fear and start living by faith. You stop hesitating and start acting. You stop running in circles and start moving with purpose. Your choices get clearer. Your energy rises. Your life starts to reflect your truth instead of your fears. That's what alignment feels like. That's what real confidence is. It doesn't come from outside applause. It comes from living in integrity with who you are. Even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's uncertain, especially then. Because your future won't be built by what's easy. It will be built by what's true. And your inner voice is your most reliable compass. Not the loudest voice, but the most loyal one. It doesn't need proof. It only needs your permission. So listen. Every day, let that voice become louder than your doubts, stronger than your fears, clearer than the noise. The world will always try to distract you, but your inner voice will always try to lead you. Follow it, and you won't just find success, you'll find yourself. The moment you start listening to your own voice, the world will resist. Not because you're wrong, but because you're finally stepping out of line. You're breaking the rhythm they wanted you to follow. You're saying no to being small, no to being silent, no to staying in a life that doesn't light you up. And when you say no to the noise, it makes people uncomfortable. But discomfort is a sign of disruption. It means you're not available for average anymore. And that shift, that decision to reclaim your voice, is one of the most powerful acts of freedom you'll ever make. Saying no isn't about rejection. It's about redirection. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you create space for something that does. You start closing the gap between who you are and who you were pretending to be. And that gap is where exhaustion lives. That's where anxiety builds. That's where burnout is born. Not from doing too much, but from being too little of who you truly are. The more you abandon yourself to please others, the more you feel like a stranger in your own life. But the second you begin honoring your truth, you start to come home to yourself. No is not a weakness. It's a boundary. It's a declaration. It's a reminder that your energy, your time, your dreams are not up for negotiation. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing what feels right in your soul. You don't have to justify your standards, your healing, your growth. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to want more. And you are allowed to walk away from anything that asks you to become less. Because the cost of fitting in is far too high when it means losing yourself in the process. Courage isn't loud. Sometimes it sounds like a quiet no in a room full of yes. Sometimes it looks like choosing the harder path because it's the right one. And sometimes it means walking alone, not because you're lost, but because you're finally on your own path. That's not failure. That's freedom. That's clarity. That's power. When you stop seeking permission to be who you are, you stop living in fear of who you're not. You stop apologizing for your truth, and you begin to live a life that feels like yours, not someone else's version of enough. The world wants you to conform, but your soul wants you to expand. And every time you choose your voice over the noise, you grow, you become, you rise. You send a signal to the universe that you're no longer playing small, that you're no longer available for anything that silences your spirit. The world may not clap when you say no, but your future will. And the more you say it when it counts, the more your life becomes a reflection of strength, not survival. You are not here to fit in. You are here to stand tall. So say no and mean it. You cannot change your life with the same mindset that built your limits. The thoughts you repeat become the reality you live. If you tell yourself you're not ready, you never will be. If you say it's too late, it always will be. If you believe you're not good enough, you'll keep proving yourself right. But none of those beliefs are facts. They're patterns. They're echoes of past experiences, voices you've heard, fears you've absorbed. And the most dangerous prison isn't the one you see. It's the one you think is normal. The walls built by doubt, the bars made of old stories. You don't escape it by force. You escape it by rewiring your mind. Your brain is listening to everything you say. Every word becomes instruction. Every belief becomes a blueprint. When you say, I can't, your mind starts closing doors. When you say, I'll try, your mind prepares to fail. But when you say, I will, your mind starts looking for solutions. What you affirm becomes what you experience. So stop feeding your fears with your words. Start feeding your future. Speak what you want, not what you fear. Think in alignment with who you're becoming, not who you've been. You don't have to believe in your power all at once. You just have to practice it. Belief is built, not born, and repetition is the tool. The more you speak truth to yourself, the more your mind accepts it. You are training your focus. You are programming your perception. You are creating a new baseline for what's possible. That's how transformation happens, not through force, but through focus. Not overnight, but through consistency. Your thoughts become habits. Your habits become identity. And your identity becomes your destiny. You've already repeated the world's doubts long enough. Now it's time to repeat your own truth. Not just once when you're motivated, but daily, especially when you're not. The moment you wake up, the moment fear creeps in, the moment failure whispers, you respond with conviction. I am not my past. I am not my fear. I am building something greater. Say it until it becomes your default setting. Say it until your mind no longer flinches in the face of challenge. Say it until your belief becomes louder than your doubt. Your mind is powerful, but it follows instructions. And if you don't choose those instructions, the world will choose for you. It will program you to play small, stay safe, and expect less. But you weren't born to be programmed. You were born to choose, to think deliberately, to believe intentionally, to build a mind that works for you, not against you. This isn't about being positive. It's about being powerful, taking control of your inner world so your outer world has no choice but to change. The thoughts you choose today are the foundation of the life you'll live tomorrow. So choose them on purpose. Choose them like your future depends on it, because it does. What you allow into your mind becomes the fuel that drives your life. Every voice you listen to, every image you consume, every opinion you absorb, it all shapes your energy. And your energy is everything. It's the silent force behind your decisions, your focus, your resilience. But most people give it away carelessly. They absorb negativity, comparison, chaos, and wonder why they feel drained. You can't stay driven when you're surrounded by what constantly pulls you down. You can't stay focused when your attention is being scattered in 1,000 directions. If you want to protect your future, you must protect your energy, ruthlessly. Not everyone and everything deserves access to you. Not every voice should be allowed to echo in your mind. Not every environment deserves your time. The world is full of distractions that look harmless but are designed to keep you stuck. Endless scrolling, gossip, fear-based messages, empty entertainment. They don't just waste your time. They steal your power. They lower your standards. Or they train your mind to expect less, to feel less, to be less. And if you're not careful, you begin to normalize that. You begin to believe that low energy is your baseline, that mediocrity is just how life feels. But it's not. You are not tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because you're not aligned, because your time and energy are being spent on things that don't move you forward. You're fighting invisible battles with no reward. You're saying yes to things that mean nothing. You're filling your mind with noise and calling it information. It's not enough to want more. You have to create the space for more. And that starts by being selective with what you allow in. Your energy is not infinite, and where it flows, your life goes. Start curating your inner world like your peace depends on it, because it does. Protect your mornings. Guard your focus. Limit exposure to voices that drain you. Choose silence over chaos, clarity over noise, growth over gossip. This isn't about isolation. It's about elevation. You're not cutting things out of your life because you're bitter. You're doing it because you're building. And builders need clarity. Builders need strength. Builders don't waste energy on things that don't move the foundation forward. Your environment should reflect your values, not challenge them. Surround yourself with energy that matches your vision. People who challenge you to grow, not stay the same. Messages that remind you of your power, not your fear. Habits that build momentum, not excuses. You don't rise by accident. You rise because you make it impossible to fall back into old patterns. And that starts with what surrounds you. Physically, emotionally, mentally, clean it up. Raise the standard. Create a space where your greatness has room to breathe. You can't grow in poisoned soil, and you can't build a future while feeding on what weakens your spirit. Protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. What you let in becomes what you live out. Choose wisely. Fear will always be there, waiting at the edge of your next step. It shows up every time you try to grow, to rise, to break free. And for most people, fear wins, not because it's stronger, but because it's misunderstood. Fear isn't the enemy. It's not a stop sign. It's a signal. It points toward the exact place where your growth lives. The fact that you feel fear doesn't mean you should turn back. It means you're close to something that matters. If you weren't on the edge of something powerful, fear wouldn't bother showing up at all. It doesn't visit where nothing's at stake. It only rises when your next level is near. Most people think courage means being fearless, but real courage is acting in the presence of fear. It's standing in the middle of uncertainty and choosing to move anyway. That's what changes your life. Not waiting until you feel ready, but deciding to go forward while your heart's racing, while your hands shake, while your doubts scream. Every time you do that, you weaken fear's grip. Every time you lean in instead of backing down, you reclaim more of your power. And over time, something starts to shift. The fear that once controlled you becomes the fire that drives you. Fear only grows in silence and hesitation. The longer you wait, the more power it gains. But the moment you take action, even the smallest step, fear begins to dissolve, because action creates clarity. Movement builds momentum. You don't overcome fear by thinking. You overcome it by doing. You don't need to feel confident to begin. You gain confidence by beginning. That's how belief is built, through motion, through repetition, through walking straight into the thing you once ran from. The fears you refuse to face become the limits of your life. But the fears you confront become the doors you walk through. On the other side of your fear is everything you've been searching for: peace, purpose, strength, freedom. But you'll never reach it if you keep waiting for the fear to disappear. You have to move through it, not just once, but again and again. Each time you grow, each time you rise, each time you become less like the version of you that listens to fear and more like the one who leads despite it. Fear will always try to protect you, but its protection is a prison. It wants to keep you safe. But safe isn't where transformation lives. Safe isn't where fulfillment lives. You're not here to be safe. You're here to be free. And freedom demands risk. It demands discomfort. It demands you feel the fear and move anyway. So don't resist fear. Use it. Let it sharpen your focus. Let it wake you up. Let it show you what matters. The presence of fear means something valuable is near. And if you're willing to face it, you'll find the life you were born to live. You will never rise above the level of belief you hold about yourself. No matter how much talent you have, no matter how many opportunities you're given, without belief, you'll sabotage every step forward. Because belief sets the ceiling. It defines what you reach for, what you tolerate, what you expect. When your belief is weak, your actions hesitate. When your belief is strong, your actions speak with power. Most people wait for proof before they believe. But that's not how transformation works. You don't get belief from results, you get results from belief. And belief isn't a gift, it's a discipline. You don't wait until you feel confident to believe in yourself. You train it, you repeat it. You build it through action, through commitment, through showing up even when no one is watching. Every time you follow through on your promise to yourself, you reinforce the belief that you are capable, that you are consistent, that you can be trusted with your own potential. And that trust becomes your foundation. Without it, you'll always question your worth. You'll always shrink in the face of challenge. But when you truly believe in yourself, you don't need external validation. You become your own proof. Belief is not something that magically appears one day. It is forged in the dark moments, in the hours when no one claps, in the decisions that no one sees. It's built by doing hard things and realizing you didn't break, by walking into fear and realizing it didn't stop you. Every time you break through resistance, your identity shifts. You start seeing yourself as powerful, as disciplined, as someone who doesn't quit. And when that identity locks in, the world can't take it from you. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not the opinions of those who never had the courage to become more. You are what you decide to believe over and over every single day. And belief is a choice, not just once when it's easy, but constantly, especially when it's hard. You choose to believe even when there's no evidence yet. You choose to believe when it would be easier to doubt. That's where power is born. In the decision to rise, no matter how many times you've fallen. No one can build your belief for you. They can inspire you, they can guide you, but the real work is yours. You have to declare who you are before the world agrees. You have to become it long before they recognize it. You lead from within. And when belief becomes your standard, everything changes. You speak with purpose. You act with certainty. You stop asking for permission and start claiming what's already inside you. That is how leaders are made, not by accident, but by belief. So hold the vision. Strengthen the standard, decide who you are, and then become it. Not someday, now. When your life is anchored in purpose, everything changes. The confusion fades. The distractions lose their pull. The excuses run out of power. Purpose cuts through the noise and reminds you why you started. It's the internal fire that won't let you quit, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when nothing around you makes sense. Purpose gives your pain meaning. It turns setbacks into fuel. It transforms obstacles into training. Without purpose, life becomes a cycle of empty goals and temporary highs. But with purpose, every moment becomes sacred. Every challenge becomes a step. Every day becomes a reason. You are not here to exist. You are here to fulfill something only you can do, something that was written into you before anyone had the chance to define you. But you don't find purpose by waiting. You choose it. You take the pain you've lived through, the passion that moves you, the values that ground you, and you build your mission. You stop asking what the world expects and start asking what your soul demands. You don't need permission to live with purpose. You only need the courage to follow what already burns inside you. There will be days when motivation fades, days when fear creeps in, days when nothing goes as planned. That's when purpose becomes your anchor. It's not a mood, it's not a phase, it's a choice you make again and again. It's what keeps you aligned when the world tries to pull you off course. It's what keeps you going when the doubts start whispering. Purpose doesn't make the path easier, but it makes it worth it. Because when you know why you're walking, you don't get lost in the struggle. Purpose is not about being impressive. It's about being real. It's not about fame or applause or likes. It's about waking up knowing that your life matters. That what you do, how you show up, who you become, it all counts. You are not just surviving days. You are shaping lives, starting with your own. And when your life is rooted in that kind of truth, you stop chasing what doesn't belong to you. You stop comparing, competing, performing. You focus, you move, you rise. Purpose is powerful, but it's also personal. No one else can define it for you. No one else can hand it to you. You have to go within. You have to listen. And when you find it, everything starts to align. Your habits shift. Your standards rise. Your focus sharpens. You stop wasting time on what doesn't matter, because now you know what does. And that clarity becomes your compass. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you fierce. It keeps you alive. So don't just look for purpose. Live it. Choose it. Own it. Let it become the foundation that nothing can shake. A life without purpose is a life on pause. But a life with purpose, that's where everything begins. Your time is your most valuable asset. Unlike money, it can't be earned back, replaced, or saved for later. Once a moment passes, it's gone forever. And yet so many people give away their time to distractions, to obligations that drain them, to routines that don't serve them. They forget that time is the currency of their life, the raw material from which their future is built. You don't get a second chance at today. Every hour you spend ignoring your dreams, avoiding discomfort, or pleasing others at your own expense is an hour lost forever. The question isn't how much time you have, but how you use it, because your life is the sum of the moments you choose to own. When you treat time as sacred, your decisions change. You stop saying yes to things that steal your focus. You stop wasting energy on what doesn't matter. You start protecting your schedule like it's a fortress. Boundaries become non-negotiable. Saying no becomes a form of respect. Respect for your own goals, your own growth, your own peace. You begin to understand that time isn't just minutes on a clock. It's the container for your dreams, the stage for your actions, the pulse of your potential. And if you don't protect it, no one else will. Time management is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. It's about cutting the unnecessary to make room for the essential. It's about creating space to think deeply, to rest fully, to act intentionally. It's about saying no to the urgent that distracts you from the important. When you value your time, you learn to prioritize what moves you forward instead of what fills your day. You become less reactive and more deliberate. You build momentum because your actions have purpose, not because you're busy. Busy is not productive. Busy is a trap. Purposeful is progress. Your relationship with time is a reflection of your relationship with yourself. If you don't honor your time, you don't honor your worth. If you let distractions dictate your day, you let your mind wander away from your vision. But when you treat time like the treasure it is, you align your daily habits with your deepest desires. You create a rhythm that supports growth, resilience, and fulfillment. You don't wait for motivation, you create momentum. And that momentum becomes unstoppable. Remember, no one else can live your time for you. No one else can make your choices. You are the architect of your hours, the guardian of your minutes. The small decisions you make every day compound into the life you live. Protect your time fiercely. Make every moment count. Your future depends not on luck or talent, but on how well you steward the time you've been given. This is the power you hold, the power to shape your life through the moments you choose to own. Time is yours. Use it wisely. Use it boldly. Use it with purpose. You are the sum of your habits. Every small choice you make, repeated day after day, builds the architecture of your life. Habits are not neutral. They either serve your growth or deepen your limitations. They are the invisible forces shaping your character, your mindset, and your future. Most people underestimate the power of their daily routines because they focus on big moments, the grand gestures, the life-changing decisions. But real transformation happens quietly through consistent action, no matter how small. The question isn't what you do once in a while, but what you do every day, because what you repeat becomes who you become. Change is uncomfortable because it asks you to rewrite your habits. It asks you to choose long-term growth over short-term ease. The brain loves comfort and routine. It craves the familiar because it's safe. But safety keeps you stuck. Growth requires breaking patterns that no longer serve you, even when it feels hard. It means showing up for yourself when motivation runs dry. It means choosing discipline over distraction. It means saying yes to the pain of progress rather than the pain of regret. The habits you build today will either trap you in limitation or unlock your highest potential. The key to lasting change is intentionality. You don't build powerful habits by accident. You build them on purpose. You design your environment, your schedule, your mindset to support the person you want to become. Small actions done consistently create momentum that feels unstoppable. Brushing your teeth every morning doesn't feel heroic, but it's a habit that keeps you healthy. Drinking water regularly isn't glamorous, but it fuels your body. The same principle applies to your mindset, your work, your self-care. When you treat your habits as sacred, you stop relying on willpower alone. You create a system that works for you. You don't need to overhaul everything at once. That's a trap that leads to burnout and failure. Instead, focus on one habit at a time, the one that will make the biggest impact right now. Master it. Then add another. Progress compounds. Confidence grows. Your identity shifts from someone who wishes for change to someone who creates it. And with each new habit, you're reclaiming control over your life, rewriting the script, proving to yourself that change is possible. Your habits reflect what you believe about yourself. If you believe you're capable of growth, your habits will show it. If you believe you deserve success, your habits will support it. Habits are the physical manifestation of your inner beliefs. So the work isn't just about action, it's about belief. Changing your habits requires changing your mind first. But as your habits improve, your belief strengthens in return. It becomes a positive feedback loop. You become the person who doesn't just dream but does, who doesn't just hope but acts, who doesn't just talk about change but lives it every day. Remember, greatness is built in the small moments you don't see, in the decisions you make when no one's watching. Your habits are the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. Protect them, honor them, build them with intention. Your future self is waiting, stronger, wiser, unstoppable. The path to that self begins with the habits you build today. Choose them wisely. Choose them boldly. Choose them like your life depends on it, because it does. Growth demands that you face discomfort head on. Change is not comfortable, and real transformation never happens inside the walls of comfort. It requires pushing beyond the familiar, beyond the safe, beyond the easy. Your mind will resist. Your body will resist. The voices in your head will tell you to quit, to stay small, to settle for less. But every time you choose to lean into discomfort, instead of turning away, you are rewriting your limits. You are proving to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. That pain is temporary, but regret lasts forever. Discomfort is a signal, not a barrier. It shows you where the real work is, where growth is waiting. When you feel resistance, that's where you must focus your energy, not avoid it. The muscles you build in those moments are not just physical, they are mental and emotional. Each time you push past fear, anxiety, or uncertainty, you expand your capacity to handle life's challenges. You become resilient. You become unstoppable. You don't have to like discomfort, but you must learn to respect it, to see it as necessary fuel on the road to greatness. The world tells you to seek comfort and avoid pain. It sells you short by making safety your highest priority. But safety is a cage disguised as a sanctuary. If you never step outside that cage, you will never know what you are truly capable of. Courage isn't the absence of fear or discomfort. It's choosing to move forward despite them. It's a muscle you build by practicing small acts of bravery every day, saying no to distractions, saying yes to hard conversations, taking the steps that others avoid. That's where your transformation begins. You will be tempted to quit. You will be tempted to take the easier path. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple: persistence in the face of discomfort. It's doing the work when motivation fades. It's showing up even when the reward isn't immediate. It's trusting the process more than the feelings. Feelings are temporary, results are permanent. When you embrace discomfort as a necessary part of the journey, you align yourself with the truth that growth is not a destination, it's a lifelong commitment. Your future self is counting on you to make these hard choices now. Every time you embrace discomfort, you build a foundation of strength and courage that will carry you through the toughest challenges ahead. You are training yourself to rise above the noise, to push past limitations, and to claim the life you were meant to live. Don't waste another moment avoiding what scares you. Instead, use it. Let discomfort be your guide and your greatest teacher. It will lead you to places you never imagined. It will transform you in ways you never thought possible. The pain you feel today is the strength you will wear tomorrow. So step into discomfort with courage and conviction, because on the other side lies your true power. You hold the power to create your reality, but it starts with the thoughts you choose to nurture. Your mind is a garden, and your beliefs are the seeds. What you plant, you will harvest. If you allow weeds of doubt, fear, and negativity to grow unchecked, they will choke out your dreams. But when you tend to your mind with intention, watering it with hope, courage, and clarity, you cultivate strength that no obstacle can uproot. This is the root of transformation, the conscious choice to feed the thoughts that serve you and uproot those that don't. The quality of your inner world determines the quality of your outer world. Your beliefs are not facts. They are learned patterns, habits of thought that have been reinforced over time. Just because you believe something doesn't make it true. And the most dangerous lies are the ones you tell yourself in moments of fear and weakness. I'm not enough. I'll never succeed. This is too hard. These thoughts feel real, but they are illusions, mirages created by your mind to protect you from risk. But risk is the currency of growth. If you refuse to risk, you refuse to live fully. You are not your fears or doubts. You are the awareness behind them. You can choose to see them as passing clouds, not permanent storms. Changing your beliefs is not about forcing positivity. It's about uncovering your truth beneath the noise. It's about recognizing your potential even when it's hidden by doubt. You don't need to believe every thought you have. You need to question the ones that limit you and replace them with thoughts that empower you. This process requires honesty and courage. It means facing uncomfortable truths about yourself and deciding to grow anyway. Belief is built by evidence created through consistent action. Each step forward rewrites the story you tell yourself about who you are and what's possible. Your mind is always listening. It's absorbing everything, words you say, feelings you entertain, images you focus on. If you feed it with fear, it will generate fear. If you feed it with faith, it will generate faith. The more you practice choosing empowering beliefs, the more automatic they become. They become your default setting. And when your mind operates from a place of strength and possibility, your actions follow. Your energy shifts. Your resilience grows. You begin to attract opportunities and people who match your new vibration. You don't have to wait for external validation to believe in yourself. The only validation you need is from within. When you trust yourself, your decisions, your values, your worth, you create an unshakable foundation. Others may doubt, criticize, or misunderstand, but your inner belief becomes a shield that protects you from their noise. This belief isn't arrogant or blind. It's grounded in your commitment to growth and your willingness to keep going despite setbacks. It's a quiet confidence that says, I am enough, I am capable, I am worthy. And that confidence changes everything. Your thoughts build your reality. Choose them with care. Tend your inner garden with intention. Weed out the limiting beliefs. Plant seeds of courage, hope, and strength. Nurture them daily through action and commitment. This is how you transform your mind, and with it, your life. The power is in your hands. The choice is yours. The time is now.